Hey YouTube, RedNeck here. Today we're going to talk about barter items. I like to break barter items into three basic things: is renewable, essential, and exotic or specialty. I'll break down each one further. I think one of the main ones people overlook are the homesteading style renewable kind, the things you can make from your property. So that'll be the first one I touch on. I'll show you some projects I've been doing, so stick with me. I'll get to it. Alright, first up is renewables. I like renewables a lot because it's about what you can produce yourself. These might include eggs, cheese, wool, tobacco, alcohol, soap, stuff like that. This winter I made me a lye leach, and this is some of the homemade lye I made. I boiled it down, and this is pretty concentrated stuff here, and I used it to make homemade soap. It's scent-free. It's kind of soft. I used a lot of vegetable lard in this instead of just a straight animal tallow, which made it a little softer than normal. Here's some of my homemade cheese. This needs about 2 more months of aging before it's ready to eat. It should be just farm fresh cheddar taste. Here are some of my eggs. I have a lot of eggs. I've got 14 layers right now, and they produce on average about a dozen a day, if at least 10 a day, if not a dozen a day. So we're eating a lot of eggs here. And then this here isn't something I've tried yet. This is just a visual representation. It's just water. But I'd like to try sometime, maybe not, to make some potato vodka. I've heard different things about it and stuff. I've never tried to make any kind of vodka or homemade spirits at all. I know the legality of it is pretty tricky, but that's something I would at least like to know more about. So this represents maybe a future project, but definitely something, you know, WROL, or after it hits the fan, something that you could look into producing. The potatoes grow about everywhere. So those are a few things to touch on the renewables, and we'll move on to the essentials and the exotics after this. Moving on to essentials. This is your food, your water, your ammo. For barter, glass jars will be finite after the collapse, but they take up a lot of space and they're fragile. They take up as much space, if not more, than toilet paper. And if a stack of your jars falls over, you've lost a lot of prep. But if you can already, we can a lot. I don't even know. This is covered in dust. I don't even know when I bought this, and I'll probably use them someday. But the jars that you're using, the jars never really, you can't wear out a jar. Yeah, you can break it, but the caps, however, these little flats here, the rubber seal goes bad after about 3. You can't maintain your seal afterwards. These will be very finite, and they're very cheap, and they're very easy to store. You can get them at Walmart, I think in a package of 12. They're about the size of a deck of playing cards. You can buy them together or separate. You can get the rings or just the whole complete lids. And I think these only come in like a box of 5 or something, and they're pretty expensive. But moving on to the water or food. I have a lot of Clorox bleach. Bleach is good stuff. I love it. I can make a lot of water safe with bleach. Your canned food. The rice, we have hundreds of pounds of rice by now. It would be a good thing to give away, I'm sure, after several months of eating it. Also, your canned food. It's a no-brainer. Of course, though, whenever you're looking at barter items, don't just always give away your canned food. I mean, I know there's an expiration date on the bottom of these, but as long as the can isn't damaged or bulged out or leaking, canned food stays good for a long time. I mean, throw in a can of, or a jar of canned rabbit or something instead of always going to your canned food stock. Ammo. Ammo is kind of a touchy subject for me. I don't really like to give people or trade people things that they can use later to kill me with, but it's not a bad deal. 22 rounds, everybody's got a 22. 12 gauge rounds, those are 20 gauge there, but 12 gauge and 20 gauge, everybody's got a shotgun. Those are some good things to look into bartering, or stockpiling for barter. Magazines. They're pretty precious right now. Just imagine what it's going to be like after they don't make them anymore. Just some things to think about. Of course, there's a huge long list on the essentials. I just covered 3 little pieces of it, so just some food for thought. We're going to move on to the exotics right after this. Alright, and last but definitely not least, one of the longest lists is the exotics. This is everything that you cannot produce or that is not produced in your area. For me, that's coffee, salt, sugar, anything like that. It's batteries. We use a lot of rechargeable batteries. I've got 2 of these I use. We use rechargeable batteries all the time. This thing does AA's, AAA's, C's, D's, and 9 volts. If batteries will be finite after the crash, then rechargeable ones would be even more valuable, I would assume. I also have some little solar type things that'll charge at batteries. It does pretty good on everything but AA's. It takes like 8 hours or something to charge AA's, which is just way too long. But they're packed up right now. But on the solar thing, these little boogers here, they produce a fair amount of light. They're good tent lights and stuff. I carry one of these in my bug-out bag. They're $1.50 or $2 or something from Walmart, not too shabby. Any kind of tape, anything like this at all would be valuable. Gloves, boots, socks, things that, you know, the normal person, if they grab their bag and go, they've got, 3 changes of clothes, so after 2 weeks of that, the socks are going to be gone. So socks would be a good thing to maybe become a barter item. Gloves, it's hard to make individual finger gloves. Stuff like that. This list goes on and on and on. I hope that this has provided you guys with some sort of insight or maybe some different things to think about, different ways to look at this. As always, thank you for watching, and let me know what you guys think.